Well, hi, everybody. My name is Wakara Yeomans, and I'm the Global Director of Lifecycle Engagement at Showpad. And I'm our ambassador for our customer community, the Enablement Exchange. And we're so excited to be with you here today. So I am super thrilled to be introducing you all to People Productions. As a community group, we were trying to find a way that we could bring value to our customers and create a way that would allow you all to be inspired, find new ideas, and People Productions came top of the list for us of who we wanted to share with you. So People Productions has been a valued Showpad partner for over 5 years. They've delivered creative solutions to our clients across the United States and around the world. They were awarded Showpad Partner of the Year in our last in-person Transform event in 2019. They leveraged the Showpad platform combined with nearly 40 years of marketing, sales, training strategy, content production, and ensuring B2B companies can succeed with their customers. So with that, I'm going to hand things over to Dawn and Megan from People Productions. We're so excited to have you all here.
Great, thanks for having us today. And so I could hear Wakara had those in. Today, we are very excited to talk to you about experience apps, and we wanted to give you some tips for getting started with creating these types of apps. As Wakara mentioned, my name's Don Poe, and I'm CEO and owner of People Productions.
And I'm Megan Cordham, Project Manager for Sales Enablement Projects at People Productions.
So People Productions is a digital agency. We're based in Boulder, Colorado, and we're founded in the early 80s. As Wakara mentioned, Showpad gave us the Sales Enablement Agency of the Year award, so we know a thing or two about engaging customers with Showpad. Just to give you a smidgen more background as to why we're here and what we know, People Productions is a complete agency. We develop the full positioning, the communication strategy, we develop key messaging guides, and for major companies. We also create all the content in-house, from video and animations, print materials, webinars, photography, e-learning. The list goes on, and here on screen you can see just a few of the things we do.
But today, we'll talk about some important types of sales apps that we've been making for the past decade. We'll start by showing you a few apps right now so you can understand what we mean about what an app is, and then we'll dig into more details.
So here you can see my iPad has a little cord on it. It's hooked up to the laptop right here, so that's why you'll see me touching the laptop and touching my iPad here. So let's start with one first example, and let me get my iPad hooked up so you can all see it. And I'll have to switch back and forth throughout this, so you'll see me kind of doing this little dance from time to time.
And the first app we'll show is an interactive brochure with a 3D product spinner. This app allows your customers to interact, touch, feel. You can even spin the product around. It has hotspots where you can find talking points. You can click buttons to see the internal mechanisms. This is really, truly a unique way to show your products. And then we also have a playbook.
Great, let me switch over to that one.
Switch over to that one.
And we'll show a couple playbooks, so here's one we have today.
And this one uses persona-based selling. With this app, you can meet the customer where they are in the buyer's journey. And using a persona-based selling, you can target who you're wanting to speak to and how best to share content with them. It also has a...
Should I show the talk tracks?
Yeah. Prepare mode. Prepare mode is nice because you can provide your sales reps with training, which is built right into the app. It has talk tracks, provides easy on-demand training. And the prepare mode really helps to create that muscle memory that reps could use as they're talking through.
As you see here, the present mode works exactly the same way as the prepare mode. So it's really easy for your reps to kind of get into it. So I should show one more, right?
Yeah, let's look at an ROI calculator. I think that's a good one.
So this first one, sales reps can be technology savvy, but other times they need a little bit of help. So we try to make it really easy. Here we have a big start button right at the front to make sure the reps know exactly what to do.
You can have enter information that you're collecting from the client. And then this one also has some really good graphical charts and data that's displayed. This is all done without an internet connection.
And down here, there's a generate report button. So it makes it so that all this information we've collected on the left side can be presented and sent out to your client via PDF that Showpad actually tracks. And if I go in and change some of these data points here, you can see these actually animate live right in front of you.
So we're going to start with a poll.
So Wakara, can you get the poll set up for us? And again, let me stop sharing this screen. So the poll we're going to ask is, have you made or have you ever used any apps like these at your company? Yes, no, maybe you've used them at a previous company. So we'll give you just a second to find it, answer your, put in your answer. But we've been creating these types of sales enablement apps for over a decade. And we generally find that teams come to us with a problem they're trying to solve, and we help them ideate what is possible. We hold their hands in creating their first app. So maybe you have a concept in mind, and we can work collaboratively with your team as well. So either you come to us with an idea and you're kind of specific about what you need, or on the other hand, you just know that you're trying to solve a sales problem with your team, and we can find out what is the best type of app to make. So I think that's enough time to answer that, find the poll, and get into those questions. Wakara, can you bring up the answers? And we're going to take a look here at the screen.
Looks like the majority have not made apps.
Well, some have made, a good chunk have and a good chunk haven't. So what that tells us today is there's a good mix of people who have and who haven't made apps. And so I think everyone will get something out of this session today, because there's stuff for the new people, and there's so many different types of apps that we can create that I think this will be really valuable.
And we'll talk through a lot of the benefits and give you ideas for getting started too.
So when it comes down to it though, buyers don't want to sit through a PowerPoint session. They want to engage, they want to be engaged. They want your reps to provide information they can't get in any other place. And it's difficult to create that interaction with just a PowerPoint or just a PDF. So some of the things we're going to do today will help show how you can drive that interaction. You have to show the value of your product. And as you all know, there's many stages in that buyer's journey, and you can easily lose a customer at any point. So we're going to have breakout sessions later today for all of you to get together and talk about some of the things we've shown and what your team is doing to drive engagement and how these apps could actually work for you.
Let's look at some apps now.
Great.
With the buyer's journey. We don't call it the sales cycle. We always keep the customer's viewpoint at your focus. So we like to answer the questions your customer is trying to solve at every step. The approaches to digital dialogue shown here on the screen. These apps are flexible, and they can help in so many stages of the buyer's journey. That 3D spinner we showed, that often is used at the earlier stage in the buyer's journey. And the app like the 3D spinner that we showed takes a deep dive into your product. Now, there are other types of highly interactive sales tools we will show you in a moment, but that work is great at this early stage. But these product apps are flexible. They can also be used later in the buyer's journey. They can impress your CEO or purchasing board so they can sign the contract. But now we'll show ROI calculator.
Yeah, so earlier we also showed an ROI calculator. So that first one was a 3D spinner, could work early stage or late stage. Now we think of this ROI calculator as a late stage tool. Generally, it's used to part of the value conversation to help spur proving why your product is worth something to your customer and how you can save them time and money. But you can also use that ROI calculator at an earlier stage to help unseat an embedded competitor or to just really drive a different kind of conversation because of all the data you're collecting. So some of our apps have a stronger focus on one part of the buyer's journey, say the early stage or the late stage, but they can be used at any other stages too. But we also like to think about how these apps can be used at post-sales conversations as well, when you're building loyalty. So imagine that your installation and support teams can be out there using an interactive app, and they can show how your product works. Maybe they're showing best practices for implementing your service. This can reinforce the need to continue working with your company or encourage sales of your consumable products versus generics. It can also help reduce churn on your service because people know how to use your product really well.
This is great to think about the buyer's journey because sales still needs a process for forecasting and determining the next steps they should perform. But it should be a suggestion, not a script. And what I like about these tools is that they can be used at any stage, depending on many factors: the market, seller experience, buyer intent, and maturity.
So we keep using this term of experience apps and HTML apps, and what is an experience app? So let me read this one here. An experience app is a sales tool that sits inside a Showpad. It can appear just as a tile. It can be embedded in a Showpad page or anywhere like a Showpad shared space. Now, we call them HTML5 apps or sales tools. Showpad has called them experience apps. And don't confuse experience apps with advanced experiences. An advanced experience is like Mapper and Atom. What we're talking about today are custom apps designed to work for how your team works.
And these custom apps integrate with Showpad and other third-party systems. They work tightly with the Showpad SDK. That's just a coding terminology that means these apps can also connect into Showpad itself or to other services like your CRM or your ordering system. Experience apps can work seamlessly with other systems, which ultimately means less work or less data entry for you and all other sales reps. And Showpad makes it easy to distribute these apps to your team. They can be pushed out to your audiences just like any other piece of content in Showpad. You can assign them divisions and groups, and you get all of the same reports and analytics that Showpad provides with any asset.
There's a lot of benefits compared to how sales apps works compared to like PowerPoints and other traditional materials. So one, sales apps are more interactive. You can gamify the interactions and let a customer be involved in the presentation. They're also more flexible. You can have that nonlinear conversation your customers want instead of drowning them with a 30-page PowerPoint. And you can also collect client information and data. So remember those ROI calculators, they make it so simple to collect the information your reps learn in the field as part of their meeting. The data is collected during the meeting. So you can enter the customer's information, right then in the call, not afterwards when they're trying to have to remember to put it in Salesforce or whatever. Use the information you can use all that product information that you gather for other things too, in addition to the sales cycle. You can use it for product marketing, you can create white papers based on the research you're gathering. So there's one other benefit. Experience apps also work offline. You don't need to have an internet connection.
It's the HTML5 code. It works great on any platform and most devices. The HTML5 code is easily used across desktop, tablet, phone. It's very responsive. The apps perform well inside the Showpad platform as well as external websites. So if you were wanting to cut some things out and make it available elsewhere on external websites, it can do that as well. But the bottom line is there's only one code base to maintain instead of code for your iPhone or Androids or your website. It's all together in one place.
It is really cool that you can put it on all these different devices at one time. Sales apps can also work really well in training. Training can be built right into the app itself. New and experienced reps like the structure of an app. The way we organize the app can actually help guide the conversation in the way that the app is designed. So these can be very effective with onboarding new employees. And remember those talk tracks? That provides just-in-time training built right into the app. So they're not learning in one PowerPoint and having to apply it over here in the app. It's all in one place. And this ensures your team knows the key messages to hit with your target personas. We like to make the apps easy to use, as I said. So any rep should be able to use this. We think of this as the Apple methodology, where you should just be able to look at it and know how it works. So let's look at this next poll. Well, Kara, we have one more poll today. Can you bring up this next poll? Does your firm have a big Excel ROI calculator of any type? Yes or no?
We've talked to all sorts of companies, though, that have a complex spreadsheet, and they've been looking for ways to make it easy for the reps to use inside Showpad. But remember, Excel spreadsheets aren't supported in Showpad. You don't have to be too strict on your definition of this ROI calculator. We just kind of want to get an idea and a sense from you all.
So hopefully that's been enough time to find the poll and do your voting. So Wakara, can we take a look at the results on this one? So again, we have a pretty relatively even split. There's an awful lot of you that haven't used ROI calculators, but many of you have. And so let's explain how these can actually work in Showpad for those who need to take the Excel spreadsheet into Showpad, or who might want to explore how these work in general. So we're going to show an ROI calculator here in just a second, a different one. But remember, like an ROI calculator or a cost analysis tool works great with the value sale, proving to your customer your product will save them time and money. You can use all that customer's information to create a custom report that can be shown to their administrators and their purchasing board, because remember, your sales rep probably isn't there for those part of the conversations, and it can establish your company's value. So many of you did say that you have calculators, and I've seen a lot of them over the years. Oftentimes they're messy, they're complicated, they have tabs all along the bottom, and we make them simple and easy to use. We're able to automatically display beautiful charts that are more useful. And they're also visually appealing. Just that visual approach can help tell your value story by how it's designed. So let me bring up one of these ROI calculators here to show. And I will switch over to there. And here we go.
We showed a calculator earlier where we had the data input on the left. And this one's just going to be slightly different. Now this calculator here has a different format.
So first, it has instructions that we can show and hide. So another way that we built training right into it, right here, I can show or hide the directions. So I'm going to hide them because I know how this one works.
So we can put input client information. We can select a few different products. You can create your own platform.
So here we've collected all this data for how the customer actually charges for their products in the field, because that's one thing that a lot of our customers don't actually know is once they sell it, how are our clients getting remuneration for it? So we built that into this app. And so, yeah, we need to next show how the platform designed. So we can put several different products in this one.
It's simple to show the amount a customer spends and provides by having it laid out this way. You can see there's a clear indication on how much they will get by using your different product configurations.
So you can see the one customer who only owned one product is going to make about $4,500 a month over here on the left. But over here on the right, the customer that bought more of your products, they've already told us how much they're going to charge for using your products. And the customer who's purchased more of their products can make almost $72,000 in a month. So wouldn't it make sense for them to buy more and sell more of their services by using your products? So that's a quick overview. This one also creates a PDF here at the top. We can send it out. It gets tracked using Showpad, and you can review all those analytics if the customer opened it.
Let's look at some more product apps. We have a lot of options to show you here, but let's get right into the 360-degree spinner apps, which I find to be very interesting. This is different. It's a 3D spinner a different spinner than the one that we showed you earlier at the start of the session. This one has a table of contents.
So I could jump from topic to topic here, but I'm going to jump right into the 3D spinner part of it here.
So you know how some products are just too big or they get damaged when they're shipped around? Well, this type of app solves that issue. We can work with existing CAD files of your product or photos and generate these images within the app. One of our clients had about 30 of these spinners. It's so easy to show a wide product portfolio with them. You can poke around on the hotspots, get more information, kind of similar to the other app that we showed you earlier.
And so just to show how the chapters work here a little bit, we were in the cabin design, and this we can go back to the chapters and bring those in here, but we can also just go straight to any particular part of the app and show how it all works here, like inner workings of the flow of the structure.
Should we show an explainer video?
Sure. So instead of explainer videos, this is an explainer app.
Mm-hmm. You're right. We've all seen explainer videos that talk about how some things work. Let's make it interactive so your customer can really touch and feel and understand your competitive edge. Or this can show the workflow of your service. It really gamifies the conversation with your client. It makes it much more memorable, and it touches on adult learning theory to embed your product message with your client.
I like this little part here, how it ablates the tumors. So let's move on to it. So we showed off ROI calculators there and product brochures. And so now let's move on to another kind of app, the playbook. Playbooks are used for training and onboarding new reps, more for aligning your team's messaging on big new product launches. When we create a new playbook, we want to learn from your top reps for how they push through barriers and close sales. Then we create a playbook to help any rep become a winner. We take those learnings from those top reps and combine with our best practices, we can standardize the whole sales process throughout your whole team. So I know many companies use sales methodologies, Miller Hyman or Challenge or others. A playbook can help implement your sales methodology at every stage of the buyer journey. Playbooks are effective at getting teams up to speed on new products and in new launches. And they can even function as a training tool with built-in talk tracks to train your team, all in one place. So let's take a look at one of these, and hang on while I bring it up. And this is the one we call the Luminity app.
This app has both prepare mode and present mode.
Hang on, let me get it up here. So here's prepare mode and present mode.
Present is customer facing for when a rep meets with a client. And prepare mode provides talk tracks and other content for training on messaging.
So here I am in prepare mode. I can open up an asset, I can present to it. This gives me all the pieces I would need for the different target personas over there on the left. And maybe I've decided that the customer would like to see a few of these, and I can click on these and send them out using the Showpad tracking and analytics so we can see how it works and performs when we send it out to the client. Sorry, I diverted you a little bit there, Megan.
Well, that's okay. Well, we can just go over how prepare and present mode really kind of embed that adult learning theory. Just by being set up and displayed in the same manner, it really creates a way for your reps to be comfortable going through when they're presenting the app and talking to their customers. We can organize the app based on role or demographic of your customer, or we can structure the playbook based on your customer's opinions. There are many ways to make this work for your team.
So before, when I was showing in prepare mode, I was talking to a solar champion, and here are those assets. And now I've got the messaging point for 3 different messaging points, and we've color coded them. So when we're over in present mode, those color coded dots give a hint to the sales rep as to which messaging point that each piece of content really addresses.
Mm-hmm. And a playbook can be very effective with answering your customers' pushbacks. But handling pushbacks isn't about being right. The content here can be a conversation starter. That can let the rep dig into the client's real goals. There you go. You can see the built-in talk tracks.
So one of the other things that's really nice about this is all these assets here are using the Showpad SDK, and automatically puts these assets into the playbook without us having to be involved. And so it's dynamically added to the app. it looks to those Showpad tags to automatically add these assets in. There's no need to come to us for updates. You can do it all on your own. So let's get on to the next app. So let's close some sales. We've got a quote builder that we want to show next. So instead of handwriting a bid or writing a proposal, re-entering into a different ordering system, let's do this all in Showpad. An app can dramatically simplify this collection process, so it's much more efficient. This app can save the data, push it using an API to your ordering system, and boom, the order is placed. Or the app can simply send the email with a PDF of your order to the fulfillment department. They can send it out with an email. It can get pushed through the API. Your customer can get a PDF, an email. There's so many different ways. And since the breakouts are going to happen really quick, I might just show this really quickly.
Sure. One other thing I wanted to mention is that you can get your customer's signature in this as well, which is kind of nice for placing the orders.
So let's just kind of fast forward to this because we need to do the breakouts. This one is presented vertically as well.
This one's similar. You can collect the client information so we know who's placing the order.
So I just entered my information and I'm going to build a quote.
And you can use certain filters to focus on products. You can also make a few different selections, maybe some last minute add-ons.
So let's see, I'm going to add a couple of lower price snowboards. And we originally designed this app for a company that was selling snowboards to like big rental departments, like the ski department at Vail. So that's why we have so many different snowboards we want to buy. This isn't necessarily a consumer-oriented type of thing. If I needed to go in, I can find out more information about a specific type of snowboard. All this is provided in the same app. So my rep isn't having to go over here for product information, over there for the latest PDF, because right here, we have PDFs that are using the Showpad SDK to embed right into the app. Your latest information is always available. And again, this is all done through tagging.
So you can always change the products in the app or the pricing. Maybe some products are only available in some countries, or you need to change the currency or language. This app can do it all.
So I selected the items I want. I can make some revisions. Let's say I need a couple more of that one. And I want the warranty, and it has these last minute add-on items, again, that I can have more information on these, but I can add those in. Go on to the next step. It does all the calculations right here. Mm-hmm. And I love this part. I can sign on the dotted line with a very messy signature. So let me try that again. There's my messy signature. I think I could be a doctor in my next life. And I'll go ahead and place the order, and it's submitted to through the API, but we could also send a PDF of the email out to the customer.
And the sale's done. So starting by just kind of listing off a few apps that your company may need would be maybe an ROI calculator, product and technology brochures, playbooks and training. There's ordering, which we just saw, augmented reality, and virtual reality, which is my favorite. You can place your product in front of your customer in a whole new way. There's the proposal builder for written proposals, launch books for training, diagnostic benchmark against the industry, and a recommendation tool that focuses on your client on which of your products best fits their needs. There's a product sell sheet. In fact, we automatically generate thousands of sell sheets based on your PIM or other data set. You can map your location, schedule for repairs or installations, software or hardware demo. You can actually mimic how your software product works in Showpad. Tours of your facility, product assembly, product explosion to see the inside of your product, or competitive comparison. So there were two different PDFs that I just want to recap here that are available for you to download. If you go to the docs section, there's two different documents there. And if I click there to get the names of them, no, I don't have docs available to me. Jesse, can you scroll down?
one of the docs has this image in it, and it allows you to look at all the different types of apps that you might have. And the other PDF, it was an overall strategy document that talks about the full process, and it's another piece that you might want to keep for the longer term. So let's move on to how do you get and make an app? So you don't have to come to us with a full design or a wireframe of the app you want to make. We've been making business-focused apps for over a decade and we can walk you through every step of the strategy and for all the creative decisions that you need to make. We just need to know what issue your reps are facing, and we can help you formulate the best solution for the challenge. We've just shown a few apps today, and there's a lot more of examples that we can show you as well. So Megan, can you talk through the steps of creating an app?
Sure. So the first phase is discover and define. This is where we listen to your issues that need to be solved. We show examples of other apps and formulate the approach with your app. The deliverables are often a sitemap and a wireframe that outline the structure of the app. And then we also provide some initial design comps as well. There are several approval rounds to ensure the app works the way you want it. And we can even show you functioning prototypes, which is so you can see the flow of the app before it's even developed. And then the next phase would be design and development. We've already started the designs in the initial phase. So here we wrap up the graphical approach and we get into the coding stage. You get to test the app and see how it works. And the next phase, deployment. We help you get the app loaded onto Showpad or your website. We always like to test again once it's loaded to Showpad.
And there's one last phase that we like to call cultivation. And this is an important step that has several aspects that we think of as best practices for developing an app because we've created so many. A, we ensure your teams align on the goals and solution. Now, this should happen early in the discovery process to bring your teams all together and make sure everyone's aligned. The next thing we really like to think about in cultivation is training your reps and your other users, not only on how to use the app, but also why they should use it. This helps explain to them how it can help their sales numbers and really gets people using that app. Once the app's launched, we also like to conduct surveys and interviews of your reps. So both you as the admin and us as people productions, your partner, learns what worked for your team, what adjustments we should make if you're going to update the app or if we're going to create a new app in the future. Let's learn from our experience together. We also like to review the usage analytics inside of Showpad. But we can also embed other analytics tools like Google Analytics or Adobe Analytics into the app to dig deep into how the app is working. This can also be used to guide future updates or revisions in the app. So I know we had some questions coming in, and we'd love to answer your questions. So feel free to get in touch with us here at this information on the screen.
We're very passionate about bringing marketing and sales teams together and solving the bigger business issues. So we welcome you to get in touch with us at the info on the screen, and we can set up a call. And we'd also love to answer your questions right now, too.
We have one question already around pricing, which makes sense. So Wakara typed to me, obviously every project's different, but what is an approximate scope for cost for an app like an Excel calculator conversion? So we've created a lot of apps in the past, and some apps we find, let's cut down to the real quick answer. Some apps are like in the 10 to 20K range very easily. They're fairly straightforward and are self-contained and don't need as much design. Other apps can cost 30, 50 grand or more if they're doing a lot of video, a lot of 3D rendering that we need to do, and things that are just more complicated. So we kind of find that there's kind of some lower end, easier ones to produce and some higher end. Once we create the first app, that's when we like to create a series of apps. You know, how can we rinse and repeat so that this happens over and over again? That one company made like 30 or 40 ROI calculators with us, and we came up with the initial template for the first one, and then we were just able to add in new content in it and made different versions for different product lines that they had. Sometimes we don't know the scope of an app. And so we break the process up into two phases, a discovery and definition, kind of like what Megan was talking about earlier, and then deployment. So we scope out the project, first with the simple discovery phase. It's kind of like creating blueprints for a house.
Yep.
And then once we know kind of what the scale of the house is that we need to build, the size of the app, then we can scope out the second phase. We might have a guesstimate for the whole size of the app, but until we get into some of the work, we don't know all of the details. So that's one of the questions we have. Well, Cara, were there any other questions that we have come in? I've got my headphones in so I can hear you. Let me turn you up a little bit.
Excellent. Great. So we have a question about, can these apps be used on both Showpad and a company website?
So can these apps be used both on a Showpad and a company website?
Oh.
Do you want to take that one?
Yes. Because of the HTML5 code that's built outside of Showpad, it's packaged in a way that it'll work in multiple different platforms. So we can work in Showpad, or if you'd like to maybe take this tool and make it available to your further audience and customers on your website, we can do that as well.
There's sometimes some little things we need to change, just if we're using like the Showpad SDK to pull assets in. There's just some little changes we need to make, but sometimes we've made big apps that go in Showpad for like when a rep is doing the guided conversation, and then we just take that, say that one 3D spinner out and put that on the website just for that part, so that the reps still have something to show when they're in meetings. So there's different ways that can really work, but we can work with your team to see what makes sense for your website. Well, Cara, anything else that has come in?
Yeah. What are the benefits of building an app like this on a platform like Showpad versus building a standalone tool or something that exists outside of this platform?
So someone else asked, what's the benefit of putting apps on Showpad versus putting them, just in a standalone tool? And I think there's a variety of different things. One, because Showpad has all the authentication and databases and all these things built into it automatically, it makes it much easier for us to create these apps. We're not having to add in those basic things like just a login screen so no one else can use your app when it's already in Showpad. Also, as the end user, they don't have to have 23 icons on their desktop trying to figure out which one needs to be used for this meeting. You can put these into a Showpad page or a shared space and kind of use them in a more organized way. Think about how like Amazon has like other people who bought these other things. Showpad kind of does that similar kind of thing so that you can organize your content so it's really easy for your reps to use.
And everything's all in one place. Bigger picture point there.
Yeah. There's a variety of other benefits, but we don't need to belabor every single detail. Well, Cara, is there anything else?
Let's see. We have a couple floating, but this one is coming through around if we are to start producing an app, do we need to have defined wireframes before we get started?
So we covered this one a little bit before. Do people need to come to us with wireframes and a real defined need? Do you want to take that?
Sure. No, that's definitely what our discovery phase is for, and kind of where we like to dive in and understand the bigger picture of what the issue you're trying to solve. So the wireframes and the sitemap in the discovery phase really help us to have these rich conversations with you to understand what the issue is and how we can develop this tool to help support and navigate those issues for your reps. So you don't need to come to us with wireframes or a plan, general objective or an issue you can come to us with, and then we'll talk through that with you and try to figure out how this app could best benefit you.
Great. Final question. How easy is it to update apps after a new product launch or a rep gives new topics to cover, to give reps new topics to cover?
How easy is it to update a rep or an app after it's been launched, or if a rep comes in with questions or revisions that are needed? So depends on the scale of the change that we need to make. What's really nice about Showpad is, what's nice about HTML5, sometimes if you have in-house developers, you can just make a little copy change here and there. Sometimes we actually make it so you can actually change the app on your side. We sometimes on some of the apps develop a backend admin tool so your team can make text changes and product changes without coming to us. Sometimes we upload like an Excel spreadsheet. And so Showpad can't display an Excel spreadsheet, but our apps can look at an Excel spreadsheet, or a CSV document or a text document. There's different kinds of ways we can do this, but our app can look at this document over here and pull like new pricing. So let's say you're doing like a reimbursement calculator and you need to do annual updates for the insurance reimbursement rates. The app that we create is like the shell. It has all the structure for how it needs to work, but then your team can simply upload an Excel spreadsheet, and our app looks at that every year and says, what's the latest rates, and pulls it in and is always up to date with what's needed to do. So that's just a couple of ways that we can update some apps. Also, you can also use the Showpad SDK using tags to push new PDFs and videos and stuff like that into our apps. So I think, Wakara, you said that was maybe the last question. Are some wrap-up things you need to do, Wakara?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just to thank People Productions, Dawn and Megan, we've really appreciated you all sharing your insights, giving us some inspiration, some new ideas, something to bring back to our teams. And also thank you all for joining from the Enablement Exchange and our customer community. We're really excited to continue programming like this, and would love your input as you start to see more and more of these kinds of events. We'd love to hear from you, hear what you'd like to see more of, and much more to come from Showpad. So thank you all for your time today. We really appreciate everyone being here with us.
Thank you.
Have a great day.